Thank you, Sitsankar. I think that must have been an eye-opener for everyone. And we'd like to thank you for giving us this motivational talk. With this, we come to uh, the end, but not really the end of this afternoon, because it can't be the end without a recap or a concluding observations. And for that, we have a person who will do the concluding talk, for whom I don't need to do any introduction. He is Mr. Rajiv Dhar, and he was the Director and CEO of Indian Institute of Packaging. Now he's with ITC of United Nations, and I'm sure he has been making notes all afternoon, so he has a lot to tell us now.
I will sum up with one word, that is wonderful. Can somebody just put it up? Frankly speaking, even if the audience strength was not so encouraging, but I think the quality of participation and the quality of speakers both were of very exceptional order, and I'm really happy, and I wish to convey best wishes to Deepak for this organizing such a wonderful event, and Anil for, of course, inviting me and arranging this conclave today. Okay, let's come to business. We had some of the sessions which were really very, very interesting, I must tell you. And my immediate thing was the presentation which was given on barcode. Because this is one area which was my first research topic. Somewhere in 2006 or around that time, there was big hue and cry in the country because Europe had found out some pesticide related issues in our grapes. And there was a big issue. They had stopped export our grapes. All inspectors used to come to India. And there was a big lobby which was against any kind of correction measures, because they wanted us to create a traceability mechanism so that they can find out exactly where the problem is taking place. But sure enough, somebody said, no, it is straight to barrier, we should not do it, and all that blah blah kind of thing. But then there was a segment, some good thoughtful people who said, no, let's try, let's do what they want us to do, and they did it. And in the year 2005-06, I think, I thought, let me try to find out what is all this going out, whether it is really useful or not. So I'll just tell you what was the outcome. But before coming to that outcome, I would like you to just understand it's very much important for us, for each industry rather, to make a strategic case for their own business philosophy, for their own business, and come out what is best for them. There is no standard, there is no universal packaging or labeling issue which is going to serve everybody's purpose. So first and foremost is to identify what is good for us. Coming back to the traceability issue. What I did, I just plotted whatever export of grapes and other fruits and vegetables were taking place from the country. I plotted them under two categories, in value terms and in quantity terms. And if you look at this graphs, you will see very interesting trend. As far as fruits, other fruits and mangoes are concerned, they have a pattern. As far as grape is concerned, which is shown in red color, it also has a pattern. But that pattern got disturbed. Yeah, anything? Okay, that pattern got disturbed in terms of value realization after the year 2005. Can you note it here? Well, that was the most interesting conclusion. We realized that when the problem took place in 2003, APEDA was in firefighting mode, and they worked with GS1 and they created a special traceability mechanism. They used to call it GrapeNet. I think Mr. Kaul must be knowing about it. And it was widely publicized. It was put on their website and people started following it. And the people who are following it, they realize it's very useful because they are giving assurance to the customer that grapes is of good quality, and they were able to get better returns. And that's what contributed to higher returns in their crop. So friend, what I am trying to say, it is good to follow the practices, international practices, which are going to make your business viable and useful in terms of money realization. But then there's a catch. I was working with roller tinners. We had acquired flexo machine, which was new that time. I think Italian flexo, first time anybody acquiring that in roller tinners. Roller tinner has had a tea pack, small tea pack, which was very popular in southern part of India. It was called Red Rose, branded as Red Rose. Till then, they were packing it with a printing which was done under rotogravure printing, very nice printing, red color, and they were marketing very well. We had a new marketing guy, Raveen Chaudhary. He came there, he said, no, let's do something different. Let's vacuumize it. Let's create a vacuum pack. He created a vacuum pack. And then he said, Rajiv, you have got a flexo. Why don't you do flexo printing? I said, no, we don't get quality like rotogravure and all that. He said, no, whatever you want, you get best plates, best ink and whatever you want and create a nice print. We slogged with some of the companies, ink making companies, and finally we were able to produce a tolerable kind of print which was matching to some extent the gravure print. We marketed and launched in South. And you will not believe it didn't work. Nobody bought it. And then Raveen did as usual, try to find out what was the reason. And it was established that market was not educated. They never knew what is flexo printing. They never knew, that time it was new, they never knew what a vacuumized tea pack is. Because when they went to the market and they picked up the pack, they found it very hard. And they thought, yeah, tea has gone bad. There's some problem with this tea. And then when they looked at the wrapper, because flexo print is generally taking lesser ink than the rotogravure ink, it was a kind of faded print as compared to a rotogravure. If you keep both together, it used to appear as if it is a faded print, an old kind of thing. People thought it's a spurious pack and it bombed. Nobody bought. So what I am trying to say, whatever features we adopt, in fact, I have written a very good technical book for CII. You must go and see it. It's a counterfeiting, anti-counterfeiting measures as far as packaging is concerned. It's put on their website as well as on the website of Bill Care. You must have a look on this. It is talking about intensity. It is talking about technology is available. But at the end of it, if somebody thinks that I will go for high-end technology and everything will be all right, it doesn't work like that. So please understand that educating consumers, end consumer, is very, very important. Then going for appropriate technology is next step. And third, maybe you can have a combination of features. Let's take another interesting case which is related entirely to packaging. This is a case which when I was doing assignment in Tanzania, Arusha in particular, by the way, it's not much different than our country. Arusha, they were using a large number of boxes of different sizes for their fruit and vegetable exports. In fruit, I realized for a particular variety of fruits, 3 or 4 category, they were using almost 4 different sizes of boxes. And they were using both kind of pellets, Euro and C pellets. They were not aware that they had some problems in there as far as the distribution cost is there. They were not appreciating that there are some inefficiencies in their distribution cost. When I just tried to plot it, when I just tried to pick up the sizes they were using and demonstrated that yes, look at this 40 by 20 size of your box is the most ideal box in terms of your inventory management, in case of your procurement and ultimate cost. They were convinced. But friend, just try to find out what is happening in country, and you will realize the different sizes of boxes even today. Somebody was talking about standardization. We are not following any kind of standardization as far as our fruits and vegetable boxes are concerned, except for big and some of the medium players. I am talking about low end people who are mostly meeting your demands within the country. This is another option which we have to be very careful about. Technology, we heard technology, people talking about technology, and I think somebody talked about bananas also. I had the pictures of banana in their modified packaging bags just to demonstrate what the strategic advantage a packaging solution or packaging technology can give you. This is not only the shelf life. Okay, fine, you got more shelf life, so what? But if you use this strategically, if you use it to unique business proposition, it's going to make difference. I will relate it to the mango example. You know, we produce best quality of Alfonso in Nasik. There was a business model which was very prevalent those, I think again 97, 98. They used to export from Nasik mangoes using air freight and send it to or position in UK market. It used to take about, I think, 7 to 10 days by the time it was picked up from the shelf. But the freight cost was pretty high. Then somebody said, can we do some technology? Can we use the sea freight and position the market and still be successful? They procured bags, these similar kind of bags from Israel. And I remember there was a gentleman at Peda, he was very, very energetic. He was working on this project. He sat in the field, he said, okay, let us do it. He created few reefer containers in the beginning. Map bags were used. The sea route was utilized. Even after, I think, 7 to 8 days that sea reefer container used to take, by the time it was positioned UK market, still they had about a week's time as a shelf life to position the retail store and sell it. And it worked. Really worked. And the producer exporters has substantial returns. But what I'm trying to say, it is important to understand packaging alone, that map bag alone would have not done it. It's integrated your supply chain and the understanding of it, understanding of using it strategically, that made the difference. How many of you know just 1.5 gram of plastic film, if wrapped on cucumber, can extend your shelf life from 3 days to 14 days? Well, if that is so, how much of advantage it can bring it to your business? And it's not only extending shelf life, it is retaining quality and crispiness of those cucumbers. That is of importance. I think these kind of solutions, these kind of technologies, these kind of options, all of us have to continuously look for, and look for not only as a general case for your particular business angle. One interesting example which I took in Mozambique, because I am talking about now supply chain perspective, please don't forget that basic thing. A ladies group, they were producing piri piri sauce, they call it. It's a chili, red chili sauce, which is very, very common in Africa, but it has got a new market, new taste as far as Europeans are concerned. They like peri peri sauce. Now, a group was producing this sauce and they were making money, they were doing pretty well. And then somebody said, somebody from my organization where I was working, they said, oh, let us do something better for them, automize it, and they went for machines. We bought some grinding machines. If you see the top one, instead of this kind of traditional hand grinding mechanism, they went for machines, and they ground the salt and red chilies and produced the sauce. It didn't work. It was not accepted the way it was being accepted earlier. Then, of course, the complete supply. Somebody said, no, it's a packaging problem. Somebody said it's a marketing problem, blah, blah, all kind of thing. Then experts were put in place. Supply chain was studied, and they realized the problem was here. Because when you grind it slowly with a wooden baton and a pot vis-a-vis a machine which creates a high temperature, your aroma or your essential oil, they evaporate, and that special flavor which was the main characteristics of peri-peri sauce, that was getting lost. And when they went back to the same process, same technology, which in traditional terms anybody will say it's an old technology, but it's a right technology. It may be old, it may be anything you may call, but it's the right technology for that. It again started working. And they also changed the packaging. See here, earlier they used to use reused bottles, and if you look at these caps, they were all of different colors. So it used to create a problem of your counterfeiting, because people used to put any kind of bottle, any kind of cap. They standardized the bottle. They were able to put a standard shape of bottles and cap, and this was the little change that make their business viable. Example of Bangladesh, corrugated boxes, the best pineapple they have. I would like you to just note that the way boxes are carried on the head, by pineapple season is this, the pineapple season I think in Bangladesh, they harvest is somewhere in May, June, and they start loading the boxes and exporting it. Look at the far end of this reefer container here. Look at the gaps the boxes have. Look at finally the last row of the boxes, and somebody shutting the door. When they opened the door at the consumer end, everything fall down and the whole consignment was rejected. The problem was found out. The problem was not only, of course, box erection or box geometry is one thing. Box was not made on the right machine, because if you make boxes on a handmade machine and if you're not careful, your tolerances at times they go here and there. And if your box geometry is not proper, it fails miserably under compression loads. Individually the box may look all right. It may be able to withstand a stack load of 1 or 2, but the moment you talk about 9 or 10 stack load, under compression it fails, and it fails so much if there is a humidity. They were able to rectify this problem. They were able to do the proper stacking. Then the whole consignment started working. So here you will see the supply chain is not traditional supply chain, is a supply chain or value chain or whatever you call the backward linkages. You found out, or there was a need to study the backward linkages to ascertain or to arrive at the solution. Cold chain product mixing we talked about is a usual thing. It used to take place even today in some of the countries. It is quite prevalent where you are not careful. As I think Mr. Kaul mentioned, some of the product they produce ethylene. Like here you will see bananas and watermelons, they're combined. Okay, this kind of combination is not permitted, because ethylene will soften your watermelon. It doesn't work well with these kind of things. But you need to educate everybody down the line. Then we talked about some cost, packaging cost. I often try to find out where the packaging cost is, or how much is the packaging cost. In the morning, the first session which Atresh was talking about, which Atresh was talking about. He talked about that online packaging cost goes up to 25%, or he said if the pack size is more than 500 gram, it can go up to 3 times. Am I right? Double, okay. Do you think it is so? I was surprised. I was surprised because he is the user. Now they are the budding people. Our whole business, the kind of projections what he gave was very interesting. And it's a cause of alarm for we packaging guy. If a perception is that the packaging costs are high in case of e-commerce. Personally, I think it is not so. The,
Delivery cost.
yeah. So
Of packaging, the weight increases from 500 gram to more, then that goes to the next lot.
but it's a cost to him.
Yes.
So that's what his concern was, the packaging cost is high. But if you take the example of IKEA, IKEA is supplying you the furniture item, which are fairly big. They supply it to your home, they erect it for you, and whatever packaging is there, they take it back. Why can't that system come in India, especially for online shopping? Even a small product, it can come in a protective pack, because now you don't need a display kind of pack. You don't need exceptional printing in online trading because the choice is already made. A pack can come which is just a protective pack, it is delivered and you take back the pack. It's possible.
There he has a point that when you go and deliver, the consumer may not open it and use it immediately.
He may not open the inside pack,
Yeah.
but you can open the outside pack, which is a transport pack.
Yeah.
You open your pack, take it back.
And then the problem was taking it back.
No, the
courier company taking it back, it cost him, and where he's going to store again and when he's going to re-deliver at that point.
No, there is a working. That's why I gave you the model of IKEA. It is already working. They demonstrated. In fact, IKEA is giving good discounts on any furniture you buy. They will send it to your place free of cost. But only thing is they'll take the packaging back, which any consumer is happy. Okay, he says, okay, take the junk back. I don't need it. It's possible. So what I'm trying to say, the messages like this by our customers need to be corrected. We need to go and make a constant dialogue with them to tell them, no sir, it's not like that. Then we talk about, I think, another thing. Approach, of course, I will not talk about much about the supply chain, but generally speaking, when you talk about supply chain, you have to see the forward linkages, you have to see backward linkages, you have to see your market. If you are going into exports, then your international mechanism, the way WTO works, the way your free trade agreements work, you have to have thorough understanding of that. Then there are, of course, cross-cutting issues one need to keep in mind. I'm just deleting these two slides, but before I come to final thing, our young friend talked about less packaging. I think this touched me the most. It's not that you are hitting me by saying less packaging, but I am disturbed because see, packaging is what? It is protecting things. The basic definition is it is protecting things. And if you ask me honestly, in India still we are using far less packaging than which actually has to be used. But this concept is relevant in Europe, this concept is relevant in USA. In fact, we had already started objecting to it, because if you go to a retail market, a retail storeroom in Europe, you will see a bunch of spinach is sold in such a big pack. It's criminal. Now, why they do it and why they are successful is because there is no advertisement, there is no subtle advertisement, there is nothing. Their advertisement and their marketing, both the functions are met by this pack. They do nice front printing. The spinach may not be visible, but the printing is so nice that just on that basis you buy it. So there's case for excess packaging as far as those countries are concerned. But the countries like ours, where few grams of packaging, 10 grams of packaging, if you don't use, it will result into 4 kgs of rotten tomatoes. I think that's a cause of concern for all of us. And that's what we must fight for. We must educate our policy makers that only will reduce the losses. What we are talking about, 30 to 40% of perishables, they get lost in India. Though I don't subscribe to that, I have objected, because when TIFEC did the study, I said no, it is not so, because in India if you go to the mandi, you will see even the rotten stuff is eaten by the cow there. So there is a market for all kind of things, nothing is getting wasted. But then they had a point, they said no, it is getting wasted because the value realization what it could have brought in, that we are not getting. Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. I would like to add up one point here. In terms of lessening the cost, we are referring the true cost of the packaging. It's not only the packaging cost, it's the overall the supply chain cost, even the damage, the stock losses, all those things, right? No, so there could be a problem with the damages in the supply chain. So that also cost to then goes to the your supply chain cost, right? So stock losses, right? So it's not only the packaging cost we are referring here. So it's a lessening the true cost of the packaging.
Wonderful,
So,
you made it clear to me at least. Otherwise, I was thinking it was only packaging
yeah,
cost.
so that way, yeah.
Also reducing carbon footprint.
Just add to that. Rajiv, if I may just add to that. In fact, the focus today, the largest focus on sustainability, it is not a question of less packaging at the cost of functionality. It is what is called source reduction. It's basically reducing the number of components, reducing the grammage of the components, and making it work as efficiently as the existing pack. So in the process, you save on material without sacrificing the efficacy of the packaging.
I think what we'll do, we'll tell Deepak next time to keep this as a focus topic, and we'll debate at length on this. Thank you very much.